Hello everyone, my name is Arturo and today I'm gonna explain you the presentation of Anzaldúa. Okay, so here we go. Before dividing into the comparison, it's important to understand who Gloria Anzaldúa is and how her unique background shapes her writing. Okay, Anzaldúa was a Chicana writer born in the Rio Grande Valley of Texas, at the intersection of the USA-Mexico border. She grew up in a bilingual bicultural world where Spanish and English coexist, often in a blend known as Spanglish or Tex-Mex. Anzaldúa was deeply influenced by her experience as a Mexican-American woman, facing both gender and ethnic discrimination. As a result, her writing often grapples with questions of identity, cultural conflict, and resistance to the dominant Anglo-American society. In her works, she explores the complexities of being caught between two cultures, one that marginalizes her for being too Mexican and the other for being too American. In both How to Tame a Wild Tongue and La Prieta, Anzaldúa addressed themes of self-acceptance, cultural pride, and resistance. However, the two works tackle different dimensions of identity. How to Tame a Wild Tongue primarily focuses on the linguistic aspect of identity, while La Prieta focuses on more of physical appearance and racial identity. Okay, so the similarities between both works. Both works have a shared focus on resistance to cultural norms. In How to Tame a Wild Tongue, Anzaldúa writes about her experience with language as a form of cultural expression. Her native tongue, Chicano Spanish, is often ridiculed by mainstream society as improper or broken. She embraced this wild tongue, seeing it as a tool of resistance against assimilation. Anzaldúa insists that her language is not something that needs to be tamed or made more proper, but rather something to be celebrated as a part of her cultural heritage. This refusal to conform to the linguistic expectation mirrors her broader reflection of societal attempts to erase or suppress Chicano identity. Similarly, La Prieta, Anzaldúa explores the internalized racism and colorism she faced as a dark-skinned woman, especially within her own community, La Prieta, meaning the dark-skinned woman, is a term she reclaims to describe herself, confronting the shame often associated with the darker skin in both Anglo-American cultures. She resists the standards of beauty that prioritize lighter skin, and through this, she engaged in a form of cultural resistance, just as she does with language in How to Tame a Wild Tongue. In both works, Anzaldúa is reclaiming her identity, whether through language or through her physical appearance. She refuses to allow the dominant culture or even her own community to impose limiting, demeaning labels on her. Instead, she embraced all aspects of her identity, her language, her body, her heritage, as integral parts of who she is. Okay, now we have to see the difference. The central focus of two works differ in the domains of language and race. In How to Tame a Wild Tongue, the main conflict is about the language, particularly Chicano Spanish. Anzaldúa reflects on the cultural and personal significance of speaking a language that is often dismissed as inferior or unadaptable by the dominant English-speaking culture. Her writing advocates for the legitimacy of the hybrid language, Chicano Spanish, as a legitimate and important form of cultural expressions. She argues that it's through this language that she and others like her can express their full identity, defying the pressure to assimilate into Anglo culture. In contrast, La Preta is about race and physical identity, especially skin color. Anzaldúa addresses the discrimination and reflection she faces for having dark skin, both from Anglo society and from within the American community. So, while both works focus on the theme of resistance, external definitions imposed by by the dominant culture, How to Tame a Wild Tongue focuses more on linguistic resistance, while La Prieta focuses on racial resistance. One highlights the fight to preserve a language that blends cultures, while the other underscores the fight to accept a body that is often seen as inferior or more big, like by mainstream beauty and standards. In conclusion, both How to Tame a Wild Tongue and La Preta explore the intersection of personal identity and cultural oppression, but they do so through different lenses, language, and physical appearance. Anzaldúa's background as a Chicana living in the USA Mexico border informs her exploration of how language and race shape the lives of marginalized people. In both works, she writes about the struggles of being between cultures, too Mexican to fit with the Anglo-Americans and too American to fully belong to Mexico. However, rather than accepting this as a state of dislocation or confusion, Anzaldúa uses her experience to build a vision of empowerment, where identity is something that cannot be easily labeled, defined, or controlled by others. So this was my presentation. Thank you for everything, and that's it. Thank you.